If you ever found yourself struggling to organize your stockings and knee socks, I got good news for you. Today, this big hairy Norwegian man with hairy feet is going to teach you how to fold your stockings and sheer knee socks. Let's start out with the knee socks first of all. So let's start out with these tiny sheer knee socks and then we'll do the big stockings here afterwards. So the easiest way to fold your little knee socks here is to just place them on top of each other and then you start rolling up from the toes. You can also just fold it over like this, bam, bam. And once you make it up to the elastic band here, you can leave it like this if you want to. It's quite an easy way to just store them like this as well. But we can do better if we take the outer band of the sock, that is the most outer layer, and just wrap it over the rest of the knee sock here. You should see. This is perfect. This isn't going to go apart anytime soon. And I think this is such an easy and elegant way to fold your knee socks, even stockings you can do this with. You can place them inside your organizing system like this, in your drawers, on your shelves, wherever. Since they are a little bit delicate, I like to keep them protected. Not that I wear these, that would look horrible with my hairy feet, as you could see. Anyway, let's move on here. So, one method that has been quite viral and popular is to do a square fold for these knee socks, and like stockings even. So how you do it is that you start by making a cross like this. Make sure it's even on both ends lengthwise. And then from here, we are going to go ahead and we're going to take the toes of the bottom sock and we fold that over to the opposite side. And we just lift up this sock so that the toes can wrap under there, like that. And then on this side, we're just going to fold over the entire roll of socks here, like that. And from here, we're going to start working on that other sock. So personally, I like to start with the toes first. We fold that over like this. And then again, we can wrap it under here at the top layer. And this kind of secures the sock in place, you know. I think it's a little bit overkill for these, but it does work quite well. And then from here, what we want to do is just flip this other end here from the bottom sock, from the first sock over the top. And then we take the remaining corner, fold that over. And if I lift it up here, you can see at the very bottom here, there is layers of sock and you can just stuff this inside here. If you use your entire, multiple fingers, you can make it quite even on the first go. And like with everything, this takes practice, but you will get the hang of this quite fast. But like I said, I think this is quite overkill and it's kind of difficult to unwrap for these tiny little sheer knee socks as well. What I would do instead is the first fold, or if you like that square look, I guess you could place them on top of each other and let's just split them into 4 parts. Fold one section down first from the top and then we fold the other end so that they meet in the middle. Then you lift up top sock and you can stuff this end inside. And really, as you can see here, you get kind of the same results, but just in like a fraction of the time. I don't know why you would want to do that the other way. Let me show you how to hang these here quickly, because I always get comments about, Tor, you didn't teach me how to hang them. What is going on? So let me just show it here quickly. So I would hang them like together, so put one on top of the other so that you know which one is a pair. And then from here, you just put them over your hanger like this. And it works quite fine. They are so lightweight that I don't think they're going to stretch out very much. If they are heavier, you may want to be a little bit careful with that because they're going to start stretching out, especially if you keep them on the hanger long term. If you want to save even more space when you hang your knee socks, you could consider something like a cascading hanger. They're coming endless versions. So that's going to allow you to hang multiple knee sock pairs onto your hanger as well. But now let's move on to the stockings next. Okay, so my sister has been so nice that she allowed me to borrow her stockings here. These are quite thick. This will work for all types, whether they're like thin sheer ones, like the ones we had for the knee socks, or if they're thick like these. I think they're synthetic, but they look kind of woolen. Anyway, let's start out with the simplest ways to do this, first of all. So the easiest way is probably going to be to put one sock on top of the other with the heel down, like so. And then we just fold up from where the heel starts, or like at the middle of the heel so that sticks out. And then we just continue folding up once and then one more time like this. And you can pretty much store it like this as is if you want to. You could also lift it up and file fold them, stack them next to each other. That's quite effective, especially if you have boxes. It works on drawers and it works on shelves. These are my personal thicker socks, and you can see they would stack quite nicely next to those as well. Of course, if you have a thinner pair, you may have some struggles to making them stand up like this. So in that instance, instead of folding them over like this, what we could do instead is we could fold them in half first, and then we can split them into 3 sections from here. like 1 and 2. And that should allow them to be so thick that they may stand up on their own. Obviously, these are too thick for that, though. Another great way that you can do this is to just roll them up. I think that's a simple and elegant way to do it. So the way that you roll up stockings is that you start, generally it's best to start at the toes, and then you just gently roll it up all the way to the top, and no lifting it up, because then it's going to unravel. But you let it rest on essentially the end here of the stockings, so that that keeps it down like this. And these can also be stacked inside drawers. They can be stacked on shelves. And if you're going to go out traveling as well, I think this is a good fold, especially if you have something like a packing cube that can kind of hold them together. Alternatively, like a big hair tie could go quite well for this as well, you know, just keep them together like that. But there are other alternatives that we could do for these as well. Like that first fold that I showed you for the thin ankle socks would work for this too. If you have like the thin sheer ones, in that instance, you would just wrap this over, right? But that's not going to work for these because they're so thick. I want to show you the rose fold quickly as well. The rose fold, again, is best on thinner ones, but if you take the socks here, again, with the heel facing down, place them on top of each other, and then we fold out, let's say about 1/4 on these thick ones. You don't need that much. If there are thin sheer ones, you just need a tiny bit. But again, we're going to roll from the bottom. These are quite thick, so I'm going to roll this hard. But if you have thin ones, be gentle so that you don't damage them. So you roll it up all the way past this fold that we created. And in essence, what we're going to do here is that we're going to take this last flipping out part here. I'm going to wrap it over the roll. And that's going to hold it together quite well too. But again, you want to do it with ones that don't like stretch out the fabric on your stockings. It's going to expand the elastic essentially. So this is a fantastic fold though, and it's one of my favorites, especially if you have a little bit thinner stockings than these ones are. Now, let's go back to that square fold that we looked at for the knee socks and apply it to the stockings. Because for stockings, I actually think that fold is quite cool. For knee socks, perhaps that other one is better, I'd say. But in any way, let me show you how to do it here. This is great if you want to travel and you want to keep them together and you don't like that rose fold that I showed you. So if you take your first stocking and place it with the heel facing down, and then you take your second stocking and you place it in a cross at exactly the middle with the heel facing up this time. So what we're going to do here first of all is that we're going to fold in the end of the bottom sock with the heel facing down. Now it's facing up. And if we lift up the bottom here now, we can leave that directly under there. Ta-da! Now, what we're going to do here next is that we're going to fold over this entire thing. Over that sock, so like this. Make sure that you don't let it like expand too much as you do this. And then from here, we can start, let's start with the toes again here. I like that the most. So when we fold these over now you can see the toes are actually facing up, and that makes it perfect to stuff inside the roll here. So you start with the toes and place it all the way in. Just pull it from the other end if you struggle to get it in there. And now we can take the opening from the first sock that we folded and fold that all the way over. And we just wrap it inside the fold that we just created, like so. And you can kind of adjust it and stretch it out as you do this. Anyway, now we have one final fold left, and that's going to be to wrap over the entire thing. So take the final one all the way over, and we're going to stuff it at the bottom, or what was the bottom here, inside. Make sure that you get this one properly. It's the most important one, as it's kind of what keeps most of this together. So like that, and here you can kind of adjust it, and this will get better with time. But here you can see this holds together super well. So this you can take out traveling and not worry about falling apart at all. And as you can see, it is more elaborate, but it's definitely worth it for stockings more as opposed to the knee socks, which kind of just ended up looking ridiculous if you ask me. I would go with this fold for the knee socks. Now for hanging stockings, I would suggest the exact same. So you take the bottom of the heels, place them down, place the other on top of it so you have a set together, and then just pull it through the hanger until you meet like a balance point, or you can pull it through to the middle or something like that. And here you can have multiple stockings on one, or you could use, again, cascading hangers, and you can have like endless pairs of stockings on one. So I also wanted to give you some care tips for stockings and knee socks, especially the thinner ones and woolen ones. So the first thing I want to say is try to use a hand wash program on your washing machine if at all possible, or you could wash them yourself in cold water. Using something like a delicate bag that you can put your stockings and knee socks inside before you toss them in the washing machine will really help preserve them as well. They will get totally clean when using this. Besides that, letting them air dry, of course, is fantastic. Be careful when you put them inside your organizing system that they don't get like super squeezed together so that they don't crumble up. Don't fold them too tight. It's better that they're a little bit loose than super tight so that they don't stretch out. For travel, definitely packing cubes if you have them, and boxes inside your storage system is also a great way to go about them to kind of protect them since they are kind of delicate. And if you want to learn how to fold your pantyhose or perhaps your socks, I've made videos about both of those things as well. You can tap them here next. This channel is all about folding and organizing clothes, so if you like this type of stuff, you're gonna love the other videos as well. See you over there. Peace.